All right, hi there, Danitza. All right, today it was, I think, an exaggeration. It's already 9:20. I spent more time also with the previous class doing some details, checking some elements, and I didn't see, all right, the time, and it was already too late. So sorry. Thanks for waiting. Thanks for being here. We're going to start the class now. All right. Let me know, please, how you are, Danitza. Is everything okay? Is everything working good?
Yes, everything. Okay,
Yes.
good.
Okay, great. That's great to know. Let's then start. The lessons that we have again is just a general review. So, I mean, we're going to spend so little time, but we're going to take advantage also about that. Okay, why? Because the lessons that we have for today are supposedly the present perfect and present perfect continuous. We're going to give a very quick look at that and embedded questions. But again, I want to see that everything is clear by just speaking, and then we continue with our writing exercises, taking a look at the next punctuation mark to be sure that everything is going to be clear. And again, little by little, we're going to get into essays and to structures, more complex structures to form everything. Okay, so as I'm opening the presentation, Danitza, what can you tell me once again, all right, about these two tenses? And one more time, tell me the difference between these two, and when is it a better idea to use the present perfect simple, and when is it a better idea to use the present perfect continuous? What do you say?
Mm, Present perfect when you want to talk about anything in the past, but you you're not interested or you don't have a specific information about when you can uh, finish. Uh, yes, something like that. Or yes, you want to you yes you don't want to show specific details about the the moment that is related.
And when or how do you choose? You mentioned elements, but again, when do you say, all right, I've worked? Um, let's say, and again, this is not going to be the thing that is going to be different. But again, how do you decide if you want to say I've worked here for 5 years or I've been working here for 5 years? What do you say? When do you see that the best option is going to be the simple or the continuous form?
Mm, well, here I think you are trying to show the time that you have already, you know, working in this place. So the present perfect continuous could be the best option because you want to show the length of time.
Yes, that's a great logic. Exactly. When we want to pay attention, right, to that period of time, to that length of time, the continuous form, it is going to be, in most of the cases, the best option, right? Um, which one between these two, Danitza, is more related to a finished action? The present perfect simple or the present perfect continuous?
I didn't hear that. Could you repeat, please?
Yes, yes, of course. Which one, right, of these two tenses, the present perfect simple and the present perfect continuous, which of those two is more likely to be related to a finished action?
Oh, present perfect. Just present perfect.
All
Just
right.
when you want to say how many times you perform some action, so do something in the past, you want to show them exactly points or dates.
Okay,
Yes.
that's perfect. Perfect. Just one example with that. Everything you're saying is correct. One example with the present perfect simple in a finished action.
Present simple, simple.
See, the present perfect simple.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, okay. Um, I don't know even how to pronounce it. Okay, I wa Titanic like 100 times, I think. So, something like that.
Okay. Yes, yes. But you remember, right? It's going to be the Titanic, right? Great.
Oh,
I've watched the Titanic like 100 times. Okay. Yes, yes. Good. A, and of course, the other one is more related to unfinished actions, right? What example can you give me using the present perfect continuous in something that it is obvious and evident that there's still a connection with the present? What do you say? What could it be?
um, mm, I can think about working. I've been working here since I don't
That's
know.
not valid, right? That was my example, so
Yes,
it
I
doesn't
know.
count. So something
Uh,
similar, right? You can have a similar activity that has that logic, and it's going to be great, of course, because that's the logic, right? The general logic of present perfect. So something similar to that, Danitza. What would it be?
mm, um, oh yeah. I've been investing in action for about 4 years. I don't
Okay,
know.
all right. That's also long, right? It is correct. And it can still be happening, right? And again, actually, it is good. I have no corrections for that one in terms of the usage of the structure. But remember also that it is also very, very likely that we're going to use the present perfect continuous for things that feel very recent or lately, let's say, right? As
Mm,
you say, for example, I've been dancing for 3 hours, right? I'm very, very tired.
oh
So
yeah.
something that's been happening, right? And the connection again is pretty obvious. Why? Because in your example, it is valid, but it can also be possible that that could be done in a certain way, right? And you're telling something in specific, and it's good, right? But it is also good to clarify with another sentence in present to make the other person understand that it is still right the thing,
I
right? So
can
I've
say
been
I've been waiting for 20 minutes.
Yes, yes, I've been waiting for 20 minutes. I'm about to go, right? For yes, if you have a date, right? Imagine that you have a date and your date, right, is not arriving. You're waiting 20 minutes already, and you send a message, right? Hey, where are you? I've been waiting for 20 minutes. I'm going to leave if you don't get here right in 1 minute. So yes, that's a good example.
Okay.
Great. And remember, um, it's common that in Spanish, that's a common mistake, people use the present continuous for these situations. But in English, that's kind of weird and it sounds sometimes incorrect, right? It is a better idea to use, as your example, the present perfect continuous and not the present continuous, right? Some people say, I'm waiting here for 20 minutes, right? Where are you? But no, right? I've been waiting. That's the thing we have to say. So great, we have that. And again, that's a lesson. We know that the simple past is definite. We don't need to go back. We know about the verbs, regular, irregular. We know that the formula right changes according to if it's affirmative, it's always the verb in simple past, but if it's negative, always the base form, and questions also the base form, because we have an auxiliary, right? We have common time expressions for the simple past. Last week, 2 days ago, in this month, on this date, when this happened. And then you have the present perfect. It is indefinite. We don't know, we don't care right about when. Conjugation with the past participle. Formula right shows us that differently to the simple past, here we always use the conjugation of the past participle. affirmative, negative, and questions, right? It doesn't change. Common expressions that don't show specificity in time reference: before, once, twice, for, this time, since, this time, already, yet, just, ever, right? And the present perfect continuous, that again, it has a very specific detail related to the things that we mentioned. Very recent actions, and we can obviously sometimes see the results or that something is still happening, right? As your example, I've been waiting for 20 minutes. Ah, yes, and I realized that it was about this class. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm a little bit slow than it. I
Yeah.
just realized about that. Yeah, then
Your
that's good,
throat is
right?
getting better, right?
To tell me, Danitza?
Your throat, you was a little bit sick last
Yeah,
class.
yeah. I'm still like that. I don't know if you can hear me, but yeah, I'm better. But
Mm.
I'm still like this. I hope I
Oh,
can get better. I wanted to go out tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, I have to take care of myself,
mm,
right?
okay.
All right. But yes. Okay, sorry. I was just realizing that example was for me. All right. So, um, and this is a common question, right? How long? So I can ask you, right? So then it's how long have you been waiting for this class, right? You can say, I have been waiting for 20 minutes. How long have you been learning English, Denise?
Mhm. I
More
have
or
been,
less.
uh, I have been learning English. I, uh, for I don't know years. I don't know, many years.
Okay, good. If I ask you, let's see if you can, right, do some maths. And how long have you been studying with me?
Oh yeah, I have been learning English with you. I think for me it's like for about, but here you mentioned for 3 months, for 2 months, could be.
Okay, yes, but of course, yes, you can use the expressions that you want, right, to give approximate, right? For approximately, this, for about. It's great if you mention
Okay.
an approximate. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. There you go, right? So very simple. And how long is one of those specific, very specific questions that you have for specific tenses? How long is perfect for the present perfect continuous, right? And that's it. Actually, let me see because we have, but I don't know if I'm going to. The other one also is very common, but it's 34. No, we have all more time. Let's also do this one, please. Because again,
Mm.
if we get to finish the contents that we have, we are going to be able to cover all the lessons that I have for writing for you. But first, I didn't ask, do you have any questions, any comments, or any other details related to the present perfect, simple, and continuous? Let me know, please, Denitza.
Mm, not really, but um, no, mm, no.
All right. Okay, there you go. Again, just practicing, we can see other details. But again, in general, these contents, again, they are simple. They are getting to be simple. But of course, I'm going to go to these contents in a certain way, Anitza. But we really need to apply this differently. And I really want to practice more about writing. And we're also going to see something related to speaking. But let's see how we're going to work on that. Okay, let's continue the path we're following. Embedded questions. What can you tell me about embedded questions and the main rules that we have to take into account if we want to form an embedded question?
On that question are questions that have like two parts. The first part is like an introduction that helps the second part of the question to have a structure like a sentence. That's I can I guess you can understand that that is another question. You can use it with mm, how many um like yes you can um use different I would say like introductions of similar questions depending on what you're trying to ask. Yes, that.
And what's the main reason why we use embedded questions?
Mm, uh, to be more polite, be one.
Yes, that's the main reason, right? Because again, remember that in English we don't have this word, right? And again, that makes a lot of difference, right? The word that is in the chat. And not having that word makes English, right, or gives English the necessity to use other words, right, detailed words, if you want to be more formal. In Spanish, it's sometimes enough, right, with that word in the chat and with a please, let's say, right? But in English, not having that, right, is making us, again, right, have the need to use other elements. But again, that's the reason, and that's great. Now, if my question is this, then it's, do you like dancing? What's the, give me an embedded question with that question, please.
Mm, well, it is an invitation, right? Something like that. For invitations. Uh,
What do you say? Anything that you have in mind? Remember that at the beginning, to form an embedded question, you need a sentence, or sorry, a statement or another question, right? That's going to be the introductory statement or the introductory question. And after that, you have the real question with the modifications that you need, right, to apply to make it embedded. What do you
mm,
say?
you can use I wonder if
Yes,
you
it is
like.
possible. Go ahead, please.
I wonder if you like to dance. I know
Yes.
that you don't need to change dancing, right? Because it's correct to like dancing. You cannot
Yeah,
say.
both work great there. If you make that change, actually, it's going to be okay. Because, like, remember, they say again, grammatically speaking, if you want to be very precise, they say that there's a difference, at least with the types of verbs you use after like. But no, in general, like to dance, like dancing is the same. Grammatically speaking, of course, again, it's not necessary to make the change. But if you make it, I mean, it's okay, right? It is still correct. So yes, I wonder if you like dancing, or I wonder if you like to dance, right? And that's good. Or even it's more common if you say, I was wondering, right? I was wondering if you like to dance. So I can ask you out. Or I was wondering this because it's something that you were asking to yourself, right? That's even more common to say with wonder. But that's great. That's one. What about if I say this? Um, what did he, all right, what did he complete last week? What did he complete last week? What embedded question can you give me? Or what's the embedded question for that real question?
What did she complete last week? Right?
Yes, exactly. What did he complete last week? Correct.
Mm,
What do you say? Anything in mind?
Yes, but I'm not sure. You can say something like, "Do you know what he completed last week?"
Yes, that has to be. And you have to end with a question mark, right? Because you're starting with a question, right? Do you know?
You know,
I will, you started with that, right? Or I don't know. What did you say at the beginning? I was
do you
confused.
know?
I don't
Do
know.
you know? No, do you know?
Do you know, right? So yes, a question mark. So yes, I thought it was I don't know. Good. Perfect. It has to be like that. Question word, what has to stay there. Then inversion, always subject, what he completed, because we have to use that auxiliary that we used before as the question to conjugate the main verb in the simple past, right? So yes, do you know, right, what he completed last week? Perfect. As long as you're following those steps, then it is going to be perfect. The steps, we're going to see them here briefly, but that's it. Let me go little by little now in the presentation. You ask me, please, or you can stop me at any part, all right? So embedded questions are questions that are set, right, or put with or next to other questions or other statements. Right here, we have one question that is part of another question. So we have the normal question, where is the station? And it is going to be, could you tell me the introductory question and where the station is? Question word, subject, verb, and complement if we have complement. In this case, we don't, right? The second alternative is use it with statements, as you did with I wonder, right? I wonder, or I was wondering, right? Where does she work is going to change to I don't know where she works. Same logic. WH word, the subject, the verb, and complement if we have a complement. So rule number one, right? If there's a question word like what, we keep it, right? You follow that rule, so it's perfect. If there's no question word, we use if or whether, right? And you did that also in the first example. We use normal sentence grammar, right? We don't use do or did. We don't use those auxiliaries because they are not part of affirmative sentences, only in emphasis, right? We use normal sentence word order, subject, verb, complement if we have it, right? Then we have to decide if we use a period or a question mark. Of course, if we start with a statement, period. If we start with a question mark, right? But it's not because of the embedded question. It is because of the beginning, what we decided to use with the embedded question. All right. So here you have the one that you use: wonder, know, remember, be sure, find out, think about, forget. Those are verbs that you can use, right, to form the beginning of your embedded question. And these are some questions. Do you know? Could you tell me? Is it possible to know? Would you mind telling me? And then you continue with the real question with the changes that we need, right? The inversion and the elements that we mentioned in the steps. And these are the general formulas, right? The question or statement plus if or whether, if it's a yes no question, plus WH if it's an information question. Then the question itself, but in normal grammar sentence order, right? Subject, verb, complement. So again, I'm going to leave it there, and that's going to be it. But let me know, please, Danitza, if you have any questions about embedded questions. Again, you did it great, but I believe that you were doubting a little bit. So what do you say? What are the doubts that you have related to this presentation or to this topic in general, Danitza?
Well, in your examples and examples, uh, I only use or present or past or models. Yes. There, there is another sentence that could or is which is usually used, and you just to use embedded questions with some other sentence. And
Yeah, actually, any tense is possible. Absolutely any tense. But sometimes we practice more with the simple present and the simple past because those are the most difficult. Why are they difficult? Because they use auxiliaries that you have to know that they are there, right? And you have to know that it's going to change if you don't use it. You have to conjugate the verb, right? Okay, that's the purpose of using those in the examples. But you can use future, you can use simple future with will, you can use future with be going to, you can use past continuous, you can use present continuous, you can use, right, the present perfect, you can use the present perfect continuous, the past perfect continuous, the future perfect, any tense. Okay, for example, right? And I don't know if you have done it before, or I don't know if you have been working this week. All right, that's present perfect simple, present perfect continuous. Or I don't know if you had finished by the time he arrived, past perfect, right? Or I don't know if you will have that done or if you will have completed. Okay, I don't know if you will have completed that by the time I get home. All right, that's again the present perfect. So the future perfect. So you have all those possibilities, all right, and all of them are going to be correct as long as you're following the structure that you have here. And it makes sense that your first part is there, and the embedded question, of course, is logic with the first part. It is going to be good. Okay, so any tense that you want, Danitza, any tense, any model, it is going to be correct.
okay,
All right,
okay. Mhm.
good. There you go. So again, no limits over there. Good. So it means that now we have a good time because we're going to use, of course, all the time and a little bit more if you can stay. All right, the 20 minutes that I was late. Um, let's practice. Let's go to our elements. You had some things to show me, right? I don't know if you have them ready so that we can check that to start and we can go to the next part.
Mm, yes. Yes.
Okay, so you let me know, please, where it is, what we're going to check, and we're going to see.
Mm, I can share my screen because it was an Excel and I was trying to add in the sheet that doesn't work.
Yes, no problem. Let's do it, please. I was actually going to ask you to share your screen. So let's do it.
Also, this, do you see my screen?
It is loading. It's still
Uh,
loading. I don't
oh,
know
yeah,
why.
okay. Um, let's, I will share this again.
All right.
How do you say antivirus?
Tell me one more time, Danitza.
Antivirus? How do
It's
you
the
say?
same, just the pronunciation changes, right? You
Yes.
have anti and then virus, the antivirus.
So weird, but okay.
Why
Yeah.
is it your antivirus creating this?
Yes, it's my um computer is logging, sorry.
Okay.
So I think the sign now or the internet is
All right, no problem.
oh jeez. Now can you see something?
Yes, I see the Excel sheet. I
Okay,
see also another window with the, yeah, I can see it. You can,
okay,
I can make it full screen. There you go. All
okay,
right. So let's read what you got. All right. In the order that you want to show me, let's read some of the examples. And if you have any doubts about some of them. Okay. But generally, you can read the example in the passive voice mainly to see if it is correct. And once again, you let me know questions.
okay. I have questions ready with this. With this and with this and or not this and this. Oh, yes. Okay. I will. Her well, the idea was yes, the idea was he talks with her mom. So uh, I think I followed the structure and in my conception, and the other way can be her mom is talking with him. It is correct.
Now here, yes, something is happening here. Can you hear me, Nita?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to explain why actually the structure and everything that you're following is correct, but it is not going to be possible to work with this example, talk with. Why? Because in passive voice, we need to work with transitive verbs and with the direct object. Okay, direct object that receives directly one action. Because if you realize here, if you say, right, her mom is talked with him, no, right? It's not going to be possible to say that, even if you try to translate, right, that to
Mhm.
Spanish, it is not going to be the thing. Why? Because you have to say the direct object. A transitive verb, a transitive verb is a verb that can have an object, and it has to be the direct object. And the direct object is the noun that immediately follows the verb without any preposition. All right. For example, you can speak with someone. Right? I'm going to use another verb to show you the example. You can speak with someone, but that someone is not the thing that is receiving the action actually in grammatically speaking, and even in a logical way. You are doing the action together. Okay, you both are
Mhm.
speaking. Mhm. But you can speak English, right, with someone. All right, and English is the direct object of speak. So you can say that English is spoken by someone, and that's going to be correct, okay, because it's the direct object. All right, talk with someone is not going to be the direct object, that's the indirect object. Okay, you can talk. All right, it doesn't actually have a very direct object in this case. You can talk about something, or you can talk sometimes, again, the only example that I have in mind is like a bad word, all right, an insult. You can talk, all right, about someone. You can talk that's about someone, all right, in order not to say that word. But that's going to be the direct object for talk. Okay, but again, I don't know if I'm letting myself, all right, be understood in this case. If you realize again that object is not direct, and we're not going to be able to work with that. Okay, you can play football with someone, right? So you can say, I play with you, but it's not possible to change that to passive voice because that you is not receiving the action. You're playing together, right? But you say that you're playing soccer or football with that person, but you can say soccer is being played by you and me, for example. All right, but if you realize again, the two are doing the action. They are not receiving the action. Both are doing and receiving the action, but they are not the passive object that is receiving anything. All right, that's why it has to be a direct object, something that directly receives passively the impact of something. All right, and you have to think again of transitive verbs. Read something, right? So that's direct object. Read a book, that can be passive. Play a game, so it can be passive. Write an article, it can be passive. All right, hate something, it can be passive, right? Like something, it can be passive. But some of them, as in the example that you have here, you have a indirect objects. But again, because of the explanation, again, I'm going to repeat the same, it is not going to be possible to have it in passive voice. All right. So again, the logic that you have here is good, but it's not correct to form this because it is not going to be, it's not going to be correct. All right. I don't know if you have questions about the channel because you're not going to delete this. You're going to use the same thing that you have here, but you're going to change the verb. And immediately after the verb, you need a real object, a real direct object that receives passively the action that the subject is doing there. All right, I don't know if you have questions about that because again, now we're not going to check this because of that. All right, but do you have any questions about the explanation why in this case talk with is not possible to be passive? Let me know, please.
I understand your examples, but I know what a direct object is. That here, you mentioned that. Oh, okay. So the idea is when the performer or the subject performs the action with another person, could be, there is no way to turn this into a passive voice. That is
Exactly, because there is no object receiving the action. It's like this, and again, if you say, I cook with you, right, you can cook with someone. But if you realize, if you cook with someone, you're doing the action together, right? That the person is not receiving the action. But if you say that you cook something, that something is the object. And that can be passive because that's receiving the action. All right. And even if you realize you can change that grammatically speaking, and you can say we. So instead of cooking pasta with you, you can say we are cooking pasta, right? And in that case, you just have the subject, the verb, and the object receiving the action that is pasta. And you can say that pasta is being cooked by us or by the two of us, right? That's an example. But yes, what you said is correct. If you are saying with, if you're using prepositions or indirect objects sometimes in this way, it cannot be passive because grammatically speaking, There's not an object that is receiving the action.
Mm, yeah. Okay.
All
Clear.
right. All right. So again, and it's because, and this is in order, right? Because again, if we try to analyze this, our mom, right, is talked with him. All right. We can use a different type of passive voice in which we can find sometimes a structure like this. But in the way we're practicing the passive voice as a direct object receiving the action, we need directly that. All right. So that's the thing we're going to do. I'm
Mm,
reading the ones that you have down below. All right. He can be questioned. Okay, yes. You can question him because in this case, the person is the direct, all right, a object. Okay, is the direct object. You can question someone, you can ask someone, and someone can be asked by you. All right. In that case, again, it's not that together, but there is like an up down, bottom up, all right, relationship in which you are doing something to someone and so on, all right, but it's not something that is at the same level because again in that case the action is not directly being received. But again, then that's it. I don't know if you have questions so that we can try to look for a verb that directly has that object and work with this again. I don't know, what do you say?
no, I don't have a question. I
All right.
will.
Okay, yes, when you have it ready again, you can just change the verb and the elements and it's going to be ready. All right. I was reading also, but you can read, I believe, yes, the ones down below. Read those. Oh. I'm going to wait. Okay, so something happened. I was waiting. I thought you were going to be back immediately. But again, in case you're not back, I'm going to record. I was saying that I believe that not all of them, at least the ones that are the models, if I'm not wrong, were using different examples and they seemed to be good. Right? Actually, they were great. We're going to try, please, to read that if you join now, or actually the next class if you don't get to go back. But or actually, you should be back. I don't know, something happened, but I believe you're going to be back at any minute. But again, that's going to be important then about passive voice, right? Not every sentence can be passive voice. All right, that is going to be very important. Some of them don't use their not. We have verbs that are not transitive, and they are going to be working sometimes with indirect objects. And again, when that's the case, we need to analyze that in order to choose some verbs that use direct objects. All right, things that are receiving the action, so that we can change them to passive. All right, so then I was asking you and actually telling you that the last examples that you got, I think that were models, they seem to be good because you were using different examples and different verbs. So I was asking you to read those ones. I don't know if you can read those last examples, please. Then it's if you still have them with you over there.
Yes.
Okay, let's do them, please. The ones that are with the models, I believe. I'm not sure.
Mhm. My question was, those are perfect models? No, right? Just models. You
One more
asked
time,
me,
please.
you asked me to use perfect models, and I
Yeah,
think I
models
could.
in general. Yes, you could have used perfect models as well, but no, I didn't ask that specifically. Just models. But you can use also perfect models.
Mhm. Yeah. Uh, just,
All right.
um, uh, I just read, right? Or do you want me to share my screen?
Oh, it's better if you share it. Let's share your screen one more time, please, if
Okay.
it's possible.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know what happened, but let's do it. If it's not going to also make you leave the meeting, it's good.
Yes. It's because Microsoft is forcing me to update my, I don't know, some
uh,
sources,
okay.
and that's why it's
Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes. I imagine that something like that happened. All right. So you show me, we check that part, and we're going to try
mm,
to take advantage of our last minutes.
why. Okay. Yes. He can be questioned for 6 hours. He could have been badly hurt. It might be bought by someone. See beer belts. Belts must be worn by passengers, and I should have been told.
All right. Yes. Yes. Again, they seem to be great. Uh-huh. Again, right, can be questioned. Yes, because it has a direct object. I question you. You receive the action, right? Could have been, I don't read it. Where is it? Okay, hurt. Yes, you hurt someone, or someone can be hurt, or could have been hurt. And even you're using adverbs over there. That's perfect. Might be bought and must be worn, should have been, and the other one, I don't read it. But the other one is over there, right? Yes, should have been told. Yes, they are working great. So it means that that's great. We only need then to reformulate the tenses with a different verb, but that's going to be it. All right, that's it. I don't know if you have again one question before going to the last element for writing, Danitza. Let me know.
No, but well, no, no, no.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen now. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to do it. There you go. Now we are working, and there was one more thing. It was just coloring, if I'm not wrong. Right. So yes, we have it over here, and finishing one more, but you're still missing one, I believe. Okay.
Okay.
So we are missing one, right? With the semicolon,
Okay.
Anitza. What's the one that we're missing? We're going to try to work on that now.
The uh the one you use when you want to introduce uh another big idea, but before the idea you have a lot of comments, so you want to use
Okay,
as a micro.
perfect, perfect. There you go. So you have two main complete ideas that are divided by a fanboy, right? By the coordinating conjunction. But we have to use the semicolon because we are already using commas because they are not complex ideas, but complex in not in the grammatical way, right? But they are complex, lengthy, and that's why we have to use semicolon. Correct. So let's do that now, please, actually, because that's a very important way of using semicolon. Let's do it now, Danitza. Okay, we're not going to have a lot of time because I also want to cover at least the dash. So let's have 3 to 4 minutes, all right? 3 to 4 minutes to formulate those ideas. All right, let's do it, please, and we'll check when you're done.
Mm.
Okay, and just in case on my screen you can see that rule, so you can see it as you're writing. And also one piece of advice, right, for this type of rule, Danitza, is that you have to try to think of using introductory phrases, interrupters, or clarifications, right, so that you can use commas, right? One example can be something like this, right? Before getting there, comma, right, I was thinking, comma, if I'm not wrong, comma, to do it with you. All right, then semicolon. So, and then the next idea like that. Okay, so I'm playing with those ideas with different orders, so I'm using more commas, and that's going to be a good justification in order to use the semicolon. Okay, because they have to be only clauses, complete clauses that are already using commas. Okay, so with that suggestion, please let's keep working and we check then. We're going to have then 2 extra minutes so that we can check. All right, I'm here. We're going to try to work on some elements together. Uh-huh. Okay, no, let's do the following. Look, I know we have complications on this. For example, look, what you're doing here is going to be good, but actually you're going to already have a subordinating conjunction. And yes, you can have something later on. It's going to be only one comma, but it's not bad. All right. But again, my recommendation and actually the logic of using that semicolon for the fanboy coordinating conjunction, Danitza, is try to think when you have intrusive thoughts, right? Do you know what intrusive thoughts are?
That doesn't have sense, but you know that you need them. I don't know.
Yeah, kind of. Yes, things, right, that come to your mind every time you're thinking of something and you say, okay, and you have to go back. Also, it doesn't let you, right, pay attention to something. Okay, something like that. But again, that's exaggeration. I'm saying that because you have to try to think of that because that's the way in which you have a lot of commas. Because if you don't have that way of thinking, you can organize your ideas without any commas.
Mhm.
And it is possible. Yes, it is. You can say things without giving clarifications, without saying the time at the beginning, without giving interruptions, right? Because that's what we expect, right? That's the perfect grammar sentence. But it's not real, right? The real thing is that as we are speaking, we remember things, or we say one thing at the beginning, we start our sentence, we remember something and we give a comment, then we go back to our saying, right? So that's the way that you have to think in order to use commas and in order to use this idea. All right, and why? Again, I'm going to do it here down below. I believe that here. All right. So again, you always try to think of introductory phrases. All right. So um, anything I was saying right before the meeting, right, for the meeting, comma, I was thinking um, all right, of many different ways to approach the new. And remember, it has to be also lengthy, right? With commas and also lengthy. So I was thinking of many different ways to approach the new, I don't know, lesson. All right. That could be, I can add something else here. Remember, interrupters. We can try to think of something. So this is a complete idea with an introductory phrase. Now we can set any interrupter in between these. Where do you think that we can place something that is like a comment or something that interrupted our idea that we wanted to mention in the middle of something over here? Then it's, what do you say? What do you think that we can add in the middle that works as an interrupter?
You can be thinking about mm, mm, if you are hungry, if you're feeling.
Okay, but it has to be in connection with this, right? It has to add something to this idea.
Um, mm,
For example, here.
recalling the last session, maybe.
Okay, and where do you want to add that? Or how can you add that, and where do you want to add it to see if it's going to be possible?
Something like I'm thinking about the elements I used the last session and use them for this session.
And but you're going to replace then some ideas, right? Or are you going to put them as interrupters in a certain place? Because the idea here, remember, the idea is try to place an interrupter. And look, it can be very easy if you again think of something that is added, that is not necessary, but you wanted to add. For example, as I'm speaking, right, I can say, before the meeting, interruptive phrase, comma, I was thinking of many different ways, right? Not, I can say here, not necessary, but I decided to use this interrupter or this extra comment that is not going to add anything that is important, but I wanted to do it, right? So know the um, common ones, all right, to approach, all right, this, and this. Okay, they are going to try to correct that one, but it's okay, it works. No, actually, they deleted that because that's an interrupter, right? And that's going to be a parenthetical phrase. It can be a phrase, it can be a noun, anything that you can add to your speech that is just going to be like a comment in the middle of the important thing that you're saying. Now, all these commas here are justified. This, because this is an introductory phrase, right? These two, because this is a parenthetical phrase. Now, if I want to use as a fanboy, a coordinating conjunction, I have, all right, the grammatical support to say that it is going to be okay if I use a semicolon. All right, because grammatically speaking, I should use a comma one more time, right? So before the meeting, I was thinking of many different ways, not the common ones, to approach the new lesson, right? Yet I couldn't, all right, I couldn't get to, no, I couldn't decide, let's say, which one, sorry, which one was or is, I'm going to say here in present, is the best alternative, all right, to me. And I'm going to try to think of something else, but let's suppose that it's going to be up to that part, all right? Up to that part, it is still justified because of the commas we have here. I'm going to add other interrupters over here, and actually, I'm going to add an adverb over here, all right? We're going to see how. Yet is the fanboy, all right? After the fanboy, we can use the complete idea. That's what we have, or the clause, the independent clause. I'm using directly the subject, right? But remember that you can use anything you want, an adverb, for example, at the beginning. So you can say yet, right? I can add, this is at the same time an introductory phrase, as I told you, and at the same time, right, a parenthetical phrase. Unfortunately, right, I couldn't decide. So this is, again, the two at the same time. That's what we're using two commas over there, right? I couldn't decide which one is the best alternative. And I can say at least for me. All right, so this is also just last clarification that is working also as a parenthetical phrase, but at the end of my idea. So because of all those commas right over there, I can decide to use one over here. That actually not one comma, the semicolon. All right, but again, I'm showing you what's the thinking that you need to have, or what's the logic in English that is acceptable to have a lot of commas. And it's a little bit of chaos, all right? Using commas in English, it's because we have chaos in our sentence, because this can be at the end and this can be incorporated in a different way. So I was thinking of many different ways and not the common ones to approach the new lesson before the meeting. If I say all of that in that order, I don't need any commas, right? So it's actually up to you then. It's how you organize your ideas. And again, the way to use commas in an independent clause is to be chaotic, is to be, all right, not organized actually, and wanted to put emphasis to specific elements that are going to be not in the correct place and that grammatically speaking are not going to be okay there, but you can place them with commas. Okay, you are forcing those things to be there. Okay, so try to do that. If you're having difficulties in doing this and practicing this, first write a complete idea without any commas. Then try to add more ideas to that. Try to add phrases at the beginning, in the middle, at the end. Things that are not complete ideas, all right? Only phrases or nouns that are going to be there, again, just to add that, again, chaos, but that is going to be, well, acceptable in order to use commas. All right, I don't know if you have any questions about the process that I follow here, and this is mainly for practicing. Okay, because if you can practice like this, if you can realize that you can place the commas, the words in this place, in this place, this place, it is going to be easier to recognize when to use and when not to use these punctuation marks. Let me know, please, if you have comments or questions about this.
I understand, but I think, as you mentioned, I will try to use like a list with a independent clause and dependent, a lot of dependent, and then try to write something because Mm, uh, while I work or like trying to put my thoughts. I think this. I don't have ideas.
Yes, yes, take your time. This is going to be one more time your assignment. Okay, this one over here. But not only one, please, Danitza. This time you're going to write two examples when you have the time. All right?
Okay.
It can be for Monday. Again, you have the weekend. Try to work it for Monday. If not, again, at least for Wednesday. But two complete ideas, and they have to be complex, right? They have to be long enough and with the commas, right, to justify this semicolon. If not, again, it's going to be hard to justify. What you were doing also, it's another approach, but you're only going to have one comma. And again, it's possible as long as you can connect that with the coordinating conjunction with the fanboy and the next complete idea. It is good because this is still not just an independent clause, right? A simple sentence. This is going to be a complex sentence, right? If you use while, it's automatically going to be a complex sentence, and it's good. You're going to have here like a combination of the two, as you were showing me before, right? The complex sentence that is going to be joined at the same time by a semicolon, but a coordinating conjunction. And the next one can be a compound sentence again, or sorry, a simple sentence. Okay, but here, just in order to practice, try to write simple sentences. It means only independent clauses in both elements that you can make them lengthy and make them all right chaotic with these usages of comma to justify again this very simple usage of the semicolon. But again, that's the last thing. Then that's your assignment. Two examples now. That's what we're going to be doing for now, and we're finishing with this. I don't know if you have any questions or any comments. Then so let me know, please.
No, I don't have questions. Oh,
Okay, then that's going to be for you to complete. That's it then. I'm going to be sharing the poll, all right, that you can find over there. Thanks again. This time again, we stayed way longer. But okay, on Monday, we're going to continue working. We have few lessons to cover. It means, again, we're going to be covering these elements and practicing more writing. Any questions that you might have for Monday, please have them ready and we're going to continue working. Okay, have a good weekend. Enjoy your night and see you on Monday.
see you Monday.
Bye bye. Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.